There once lived a Hawaiian girl by the name of Nalani, whose name means the heavens. Nalani was a beautiful Hawaiian girl, though ordinary in her upbringings. She grew up without knowing her parents, yet raised by her paternal grandparents. Nalani had spent her entire childhood in the water. When she wasn't swimming through the Hawaiian waves, she was jumping into the sea off of her grandfather's fishing boat. And when Nalani turned 16, she immediately signed up to be a junior lifeguard. She even attended lifeguarding youth camps from age 12. Since turning 16, though Nalani knew that her place in life was either on the beach or in the sea. Unfortunately, tragedy would soon strike when Nalani's grandfather fell ill soon after her 16th birthday. He passed away with Nalani on one side of his bed, and her grandmother on the other side of his bed, both holding his hands. After that, Nalani's grandmother would never be quite the same. Slowly, she gave way to a broken heart. When Nalani turned 17, her grandmother was diagnosed with dementia. Nalani tried to keep her grandmother's dementia a secret for a while, but soon state officials would find out and remove her grandmother to a home. In order to evade foster care until she turned 18, Nalani immediately jumped onto a ship, the same day her grandmother was taken away. When the crew of the ship noticed Nalani, she lied and said she was 18, and in desperate need of a job. At that time, there were no background checks, so the ship's captain and crew had no choice but to believe that Nalani was indeed 18. They offered Nalani a job as a cruise ship crew member. At first, Nalani worked as a busser, then as a waitress, chef's assistant, then a maid, a deckhand, and finally, by age 19, Nalani had become the ship manager. Shipping became her life. It gave Nalani a chance to travel, swim in various oceans around the world, meet and work with different types of people from around the world, enjoy a variety of foods from around the world, and so much more adventure and freedom. After so many years, though, Nalani began daydreaming of settling down on land again someday. She just needed to keep saving enough money, and to be sure she wasn't on some national database for missing youth. Those were the two reasons that Nalani found years going past, with her still living on the ocean. It was a blessing at first, but quickly became a curse. That is, until one fateful journey, Nalani was in charge of another cruise. Only this time, some prince and his royal family were going to rent out the entire ship for a week. That meant that Nalani and her crew needed to be on point at all times. She couldn't risk messing that week up, nor any other. The tip payout for that 1 week alone was going to be huge, and Nalani counted on that. It could possibly be the cruise that finally gets Nalani off of the oceans and into real life on land once again. Nalani, a beauty, prepared the ship to perfection, and even trained and prepared her crew into perfection. She would never be prepared for what was actually to come. The cruise ship Nalani worked on was meant to be a public cruise ship. It could transport up to 200 people on it. There were 100 cabins with attached bathrooms, a kitchen and cafeteria, 2 restaurants, an indoor water park, a ballroom, an arcade, a theater room, and so much more. It was basically a castle on water. The entire second level of the ship held the crew chambers, with over 20 rooms and bathrooms, a living room, a personal kitchen, and locked. There were 2 towers of the ship, one holding the captain's chambers, and the other holding the royal suite, for passengers with wealthier taste. After all, the ship itself was called Kingdom Cruises. This time, however, Kingdom Cruises would be rented out to one family, wealthy enough to do so. Nalani and the crew were given a brief about how important the passengers were, as well as their tastes and preferences. However, they were not told exactly who the guests were, so as to not make them nervous. Besides, the crew was well disciplined in the area of treating all guests equally well, no matter who they were. So, when Nalani and her crew were told to attend a mandatory etiquette classes, such as how to properly bow and curtsy, she knew that whomever the clients were, they must be a big deal. Whispers and rumors filled the ship as they took an entire week to prepare. Then the day finally arrived. Though some crew members were in the area of correct, when they guessed royalty, or a queen, or a celebrity's family, nothing could prepare them for who it actually was. King Gregory, of the Kingdom of Drakenvoss, a forgotten country in Europe, rented the entire ship for his family. That included his 3 daughters, Princess Kylie and Princess Stevie, who were both 15, Princess Sky, who was 21, with her fiancé, soon-to-be, Prince Adam, and the king's 4 sons, Prince Jared, who was 18, with his girlfriend B, Prince Kian, who was 23, and single, Prince Trenton, who was 25 and married to Princess Laura, and lastly, Prince Adrian, who was 29 and married to Princess Hope. There would also be a few royal cousins, known as ladies, dukes, and duchesses, and several personal butlers as well. Overall, Kingdom Cruise would be hosting 35 guests, including the royal butlers. Nalani was not looking forward to remembering each of their titles, but as professional and experienced as she was, especially being the lead manager of the in-house crew, she had a lot of self-confidence. Nalani's in-house crew would be divided up, each in charge of 4 guests, depending on where they were roomed. Nalani, though, had the nerve-wracking honor of focusing solely on the royal suite, as well as overseeing the rest of the crew. All that she knew was that Prince Kian, the solo birthday guy, would be in the tower bedroom. The day finally came as each royal and each of their butlers came aboard the ship. Nalani and her crew, along with the deck crew and the captain, all curtsied and bowed, welcoming everyone with big smiles plastered on their eager faces. Once it came time to introduce everyone to their personal crew member and show the guests to their rooms, Nalani shook Prince Kian's hand almost bashfully. She was taken back by how handsome Prince Kian was, with his red hair and matching red goatee, tall and muscular stature, and relaxed demeanor. "The pleasure is all mine, I assure you, Nalani," Prince Kian replied to Nalani's introduction, in a smooth British-like accent that almost took her breath away. The entire trip up to Prince Kian's luxury room in the tower, Nalani could feel his eyes penetrating her. Once they reached his room, Nalani briefly showed the prince around, as she'd done thousands of times for other guests. Then she pulled out the wine bottle and chilled glass from the mini fridge and poured Prince Kian a glass of wine. They had expensive wine shipped in just for that week-long event, as normally the wine was only average. As soon as Nalani finished pouring the wine, she swung around to face Prince Kian once again. But instead, she spun to find herself falling into his strong arms. I'm so sorry," Nalani cried. "That was very unprofessional and rare for me," she stammered. Prince Kian gently stood Nalani back to her feet. "It's quite all right, I assure you," Prince Kian grinned. Nervously, Nalani gathered herself again, curtsied, then exited the prince's suite. Just on the other side of the closed door, Nalani laid her head against it, embarrassed at what had just happened. But just before picking her head up and walking away, the door suddenly opened, and she once again fell into Prince Kian's arms. Immediately, Nalani steadied herself again, apologized once more, then continued on her way, leaving the prince to chuckle. "That is strike 2, Nalani mumbled to herself, as she took the stairs down, assuming that Prince Kian had taken the elevator. Once dinner was served in the massive dining room, all of the royals sat around the long dining room table, put together just for them, while the butlers ate in a separate room. Nalani could feel Prince Kian's charming eyes on her, as she supervised the dining room staff. "Nay, I think the single prince has a thing for you," Danilin, a crew member, pointed out in the kitchen, giggling. All Nalani could do to keep from blushing was to laugh and play along. "Just remember, though, we are professionals, first and foremost," Nalani said as Danilin recited along simultaneously. It was something Nalani had drilled into her crew 1,000 times. After dinner, the guests split up, with some going to the bar, others going to the theater for a show, and some just lingering around, as Nalani found out. It was the easiest part of her workday, nightfall, when the guests usually began settling down right before bedtime. Nalani did what she loved doing most nights, leaning over the railing of the bow of the ship, watching the stars go by above, and reflect off of the dark sea below. Unaware, Prince Kian suddenly came up behind Nalani, whispering, "Not to alarm you, but it was too late." Nalani yelped, before covering her mouth with her hand. "My apologies. I just didn't know how to make you aware of me, without scaring you." Prince Kian chuckled along with Nalani. "It's okay, we're even now for earlier," Nalani joked. As they both stood against the ship railing, looking out at the night sky, above the dark sea, both were quiet for a moment, taking it all in. Then Prince Kian asked, "Do you do this a lot? I mean, at night, that is?" Nalani gazed into Prince Kian's auburn-colored eyes. She replied, "Since I was 18. The sea is all I've ever known. Even from a young age." Prince Kian gulped. "Do you ever get tired of it?" Nalani stared back toward the ocean before responding. "Yes, I do dream of one day living inland. So far inland that it takes hours, if not days, to get to the ocean." "Is that where you'll be settling down with your boyfriend?" Prince Kian assumed, hoping for a specific answer. After a few seconds, Nalani replied, "I don't have a boyfriend. Nor have I ever, really. My job here is my spouse. Prince Kian couldn't hold his smile back. And you? Nilani added. The prince stopped smiling and almost looked angry while explaining. No, not by my choice anyway. Suddenly, the prince's little sisters came to get him. Nilani watched with admiration as Prince Kai played around with his sisters, making them both laugh and giggle. Nilani hadn't ever had siblings to compare it to, but imagined if she had, they too would bring her as much joy. The next morning, Nilani supervised breakfast. This time, Prince Kian's gazing at her was so obvious that one of his brothers nudged him to get his attention off of her and onto him. Nilani couldn't help but gaze back into Prince Kian's eyes a few times throughout breakfast. When breakfast was over, the crew began teasing Nilani about it. She laughed along with them, but reminded the crew to not let anything unprofessional become a distraction. By the afternoon, most of the royal family decided to spend the day at the indoor water park. Nilani made sure the onboard lifeguard was prepared for that day. As Nilani supervised again, she couldn't help but keep staring at the handsome prince. In his swimming trunks without a shirt, his chest was perfectly chiseled and sculpted to perfection. Though the other princes were handsome as well, none of them stood out to Nilani, quite like Prince Kian stood out. Soon she began daydreaming about her and the prince, until suddenly Princess Hope, the wife to Prince Adrian, took notice. She graciously moved toward Nilani and said, "Darling, I see what's happening between you two, but I must warn you, Prince Kian is bound to another through royal tradition. Though he won't likely become king, unlike his brother, he is still strictly prohibited from dating commoners." Nilani took a step back from Princess Hope, astonished at her assumptions. "You have it all wrong, miss. I mean Princess Hope. You see, I'm already married to my work here." Princess Hope gave Nilani a look of disbelief, before wandering away in her luxurious bathing suit. Nilani felt annoyed after that. She didn't like being called a commoner, but more so, she had to put an end to whatever obvious behavior was going on between her and Prince Kian. For all to see, she had to keep her distance as much as possible, for the sake of her reputation on the cruise ship, amongst her crew members. She even thought about asking her superior, the captain, to switch with Danilin, and let her be in charge of Prince Kian. After all, that was the right thing to do. But before she could even initiate that happening, Prince Kian approached Nilani in his suite after she'd brought tea to him that evening. "Please, Nilani, have a seat with me," Prince Kian suggested. He was on the balcony outside of his suite. Nilani obliged, sitting in the only other available seat next to Prince Kian. "I sense that I have unintentionally brought turmoil to your job," Prince Kian began. "This does not sit well with me. The thing is, Nilani, I find you to be the most beautiful woman I have ever laid eyes on." Nilani blushed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I find it difficult to take my eyes off of you as well. Please call me Kian," he requested. Nilani swallowed a lump in her throat. "But Kian, I have stay professional, especially in front of others." "Then call me by my title in front of the others, but not when we're alone like times like this," Prince Kian insisted. Nilani nodded in agreement. "And I will do my best to not make my feelings toward you so blatant," Prince Kian added. "Though it will be difficult." They both chuckled. "Trust me, I know how you feel," Nilani agreed. Then slowly they both moved in for a kiss. As they locked lips in a passionate kiss, suddenly Prince Kian's door to his suite flew open. It was Princess Hope with the captain. He must have put his second hand at the wheel, upon Princess Hope's urgent request. Both Prince Kian and Nilani stood up quickly at the sound of the door. Princess Hope, hand on her hips, said to the captain, "See, I told you." The captain opened his mouth to scold Nilani before Prince Kian stepped in. "If anyone should be held accountable, it is the two of you, for storming into my private suite without so much as knocking." The captain began pleading for forgiveness, saying he was just misinformed. After that, he told Nilani to follow him, then gave her a small lecture about perceptions. Then he thanked her for being his best employee. Princess Hope, on the other hand, had other plans. The very next morning, the captain informed Nilani and the deckhand manager that the ship would be making a brief stop at Fiji to pick up another guest of the royal party. He informed them that because they were picking up a new guest, the crew had to prepare her room and memorize all of her wishes. She would also have an assistant with her, who also needed a room prepared. But the captain warned Nilani that this guest was very high maintenance, and so only she would be handling her needs. It was quite abnormal for the ship to dock for only one person, so Nalani knew she had to be of high status. Luckily, though, the royal family requested a day in Fiji since they were there anyway. That meant that Natalie and crew had a free day after breakfast to do as they pleased. Eagerly, Nalani put on her bathing suit and headed to the beach. As she sat there listening and watching the sound of waves crashing, suddenly she had someone's strong hands blinding her. "Who is this?" "Danilin," she chuckled. Then, Prince Kian, in his swimming trunks, with his chiseled chest exposed, came from behind her. "Surprise!" They laughed together, then sat side by side facing the ocean. "Nalani," the prince said at some point, her delicate hand in his manly hand. "I think I'm falling for you." Nalani was astonished. How could a prince like him fall for an ordinary woman like her? And what about what Princess Hope said? So she asked him, "But aren't you betrothed to someone else?" Staring deep into Nalani's eyes, Prince Kian replied, "That is an obligation I would break in a heartbeat for you, Nalani." She blushed, told the prince she felt the same, then they kissed passionately. After a few minutes, the pair went for a walk. They found a secret little cove, hidden on the ocean side of some boulders. There, in complete privacy, Prince Kian and Nalani were intimate with one another. The stars. Afterward, the pair walked hand in hand down the beach, just as dusk began to fall. "Can I get you something to eat?" Prince Kian asked Nalani. "Sure, but can it be in the seaweed grill on the ship?" Nalani asked. "Of course," Prince Kian replied, walking with his arm around Nalani's waist. Once they boarded the ship again, though, they paused the PDA until they got to the restaurant in the ship. Since nobody else seemed to be there, but the chef, assistant chef, and a waitress, Nalani and Prince Kian felt bold enough to continue being all over one another. That night, Nalani slept in Prince Kian's luxury cabin in the tower. The next morning, they both woke up to pounding on Prince Kian's suite door. Both Nalani and Prince Kian sprang to their feet, Nalani in a bra and underwear, Prince Kian in his boxers. As Natalie hurriedly tried to redress, Prince Kian grabbed a robe and went to the door. Without notice, Princess Hope and Lady Arabella stormed into the room, laying eyes on Nalani as she buttoned her last button on her shirt. "What is the meaning of this?" Prince Kian yelled angrily. Lady Arabella was the one who the ship made a sudden detour for whatever reason. She was also Prince Kian's betrothed, as Nalani soon found out. "Why are you cheating on your fiancé with this boat servant?" Princess Hope screamed at Prince Kian. "Darling, how could you?" Lady Arabella said with a sinister grin on her face. Prince Kian immediately called his brother, Prince Adrian, who was the husband of Princess Hope. Instead, not only did Prince Adrian come up to the small suite, but also Prince Trenton with his wife, Princess Laura. "Hope, leave these two alone," Princess Adrian demanded, leading Princess Hope away. Nalani, covered in embarrassment with teary eyes, tried making a run for the door, saying with her head lowered, "Excuse me." Princess Laura, Prince Trenton's wife, followed after Nalani to the hallway and stopped her. "Please, if you truly love my brother-in-law, do not let this come between you two. Princess Hope has always been a troublemaker. She tried the same thing with me when Trenton and I first fell in love." Nalani looked up at Princess Laura for the first time. Sniffling, she replied, "Really, but why?" Princess Laura thought for a moment before saying, "Do you know the saying, misery loves company?" They both began chuckling. "For the sake of my job, though, I don't think this can continue. You see, this job is my life. It's all that I know," Nalani explained. Princess Laura, with a defeated expression, said, "I understand." After that, Nalani went to her cabin and got ready for her workday for the stars. The rest of the day was awkward for Nalani, as the captain had pulled her aside and told her that at the request of one of the royals, she would no longer be Prince Kian's personal ship hand. Instead, she was in charge of Princess Hope and Princess Sky, along with her fiancé. At one point, Prince Kian spotted Nalani across the deck, but as soon as he stepped one foot toward her, Lady Arabella stood in front of him, as if guarding him. Eventually, it was dinner time. Since there were only 3 days left, the royals wanted a dining hall set up once again. Pushing together all of the dining room tables proved exhausting, but Nalani was always grateful for her crew and let them know often. Once dinner was served, Nalani stood to the side, supervising as usual. Then, out of nowhere, Princess Hope began clinging her spoon against her glass of wine. "Attention, everyone! Lady Arabella has something to say," she bellowed. All of the royals turned their attention to Lady Arabella. She scooted her chair back gracefully, then stood up to face Prince Kian, who was next to her, and who hadn't took his eyes off of Nalani until now. To everyone's astonishment, Lady Arabella then proposed to Prince Kian, with a ring and all. In her speech, she made sure to mention how they were betrothed to one another. Princess Laura, as well as Princess Kylie, Princess Stevie, and Princess Sky, who had all gotten to know Nalani well, and liked her a lot, all stayed hushed with scowls across their faces. The rest of the royals just looked uncomfortable. Prince Kian looked at Nalani, who by now had a tear falling down her cheek. Then, he watched as she left the dining room. "Nalani, wait!" Prince Kian shouted, but to no avail. Princess Hope began laying into Prince Kian, saying how rude he was for pining over another woman when his betrothed had just proposed. For the first time ever, Prince Adrian stood up to his wife. "Enough, Hope. That is enough!" Prince Adrian shouted, standing up and throwing his napkin down. Princess Hope looked stunned. Then, Prince Jared, Prince Trenton, Princess Sky, Princess Kylie, Princess Stevie, and all of their other halves each stood up in support for Prince Kian. "If Nalani is who you want, then we support you," Prince Jared spoke. "Yes, and nobody will stand in your way," Prince Trenton stated. "We love Nalani." The Princess twins, Stevie and Kylie, exclaimed. "Exactly," Princess Sky agreed. "So go get her," Princess Laura demanded. Feeling fully supported and emboldened, Prince Kian stood up and ran out the door before Princess Hope and Lady Arabella could object. The stars. Yet rather than run after Nalani, Prince Kian ran straight to the captain's quarters. He knocked on the captain's door with urgency until the captain finally opened his door. "Sir, please forgive me, but I must ask a huge favor of you," Prince Kian exclaimed. Then he told the captain his plans. The next morning, as Nalani was briefing her crew, the captain suddenly interrupted. "I need all of you on the starboard deck, Stat," the captain instructed. When they got there, not only was all the deckhands present too, but the entire royal family as well. Even Princess Hope and Lady Arabella were present, though neither of the two looked happy. All of Nalani's crew kept asking her what it was about, but she honestly had no clue. Then Prince Kian stepped in the center of the circle of people, got on one knee and said, "Nalani, please step forward." Nalani nervously did as requested, but kept Lady Arabella and Princess Hope in her sights. The last thing Nalani needed was for those two to ruin her livelihood. But as soon as Nalani stood in front of Prince Kian, still down on one knee, she began tearing up. Prince Kian took Nalani's hand into his own, then said, "Nalani, from the moment I laid eyes on you, I knew that you were the one for me. Not only are you beautiful on the outside and inside, but you are the most hardworking and humble soul I have ever met. Will you marry me?" Nalani sniffled, then gracefully nodded her head, replying, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." Prince Kian picked Nalani up and swung around with her as their lips embraced. The rest of the royals and shipmates all clapped and cheered for Nalani and Prince Kian. Soon after, Nalani put her 2 weeks in and worked them just as she had all her other shifts. She then said a tearful goodbye to her co-workers and the captain, the ones she had grown up with since 17. She was now 21 and ready for the next stage of life. Finally, Nalani would be living on land, more than the sea, when Prince Kian introduced Nalani to his father, King Gregory, who was instantly enamored with Nalani's grace and beauty. Then Nalani became Princess Nalani, of the Kingdom of Drakenvoss. Drakenvoss was the complete opposite of Hawaii and the ocean. It had snow for 4 months out of the year, lots of forests everywhere, and Prince Kian and Princess Nalani inherited a beautiful, historic chateau that was perfectly hidden away amongst the forest land. Eventually, Nalani found out that her grandmother had passed the moment she entered the nursing home. So, Princess Nalani came up with a foundation for children being raised by their grandparents. Nalani named the foundation after her grandparents. She would also donate millions to funding dementia research. Prince Kian and Princess Nalani went on to have 4 of their own children, adopted 3, and were foster parents for many years. They both lived happily ever after.